Snuggle up and let me read you a little something. Grab a seat, a bite to eat, and settle right in. For hugs, snuggles, stories, and more, and so many sweet things in store. Welcome to Afternoons with Mimi. What's going on?
My friends are mad at each other.
Oh, my. Well, that is a pickle. Do you want to tell me about it?
I guess. It's kind of confusing. But all I know is Morgan and Joey are both mad at each other. And Emo's going to take us bowling tomorrow after school. But Joey says he won't come if Morgan does, and Morgan says the same. I feel sad.
Oh, Neshama, that sounds very tough. Do you want a little snuggle?
Yeah. I think I feel like talking about it now.
Okay, go ahead.
We went on a field trip today.
Well, that sounds fun.
And we had to take a really long bus ride to get there. It was a little hot on the bus and bumpy, and everyone was kind of squished together. And Joey didn't mean to, but he kept poking Morgan with his elbow. And Morgan would say, "Stop! Give me space!" But Joey couldn't, and Morgan thought it was on purpose. Then I tried to distract Morgan by telling knock-knock jokes. And Joey said Morgan laughed too loud and made his ears hurt.
It sounds like even though they're friends, they started to drive each other a little bananas.
Yeah. I had to work really hard to not get upset because I don't like bumpy rides. I kind of wanted to yell, "Be quiet!" But I just stayed calm. Morgan and Joey were getting madder at each other, so our teacher made Morgan trade seats with me. When we were switching, Morgan said, "Good luck," and Joey heard and got his feelings hurt. Later, when we were walking around the museum, Joey and I were looking at some big lizards. Morgan was on the other side of the tank, and then Joey started saying, "Ew, gross, froggy frog frog." But Morgan thought Joey was being mean, not talking about the animals. And now everyone is upset with each other. Can you tell me a story to make me feel better? My tummy hurts a little thinking about this.
Of course, Neshama. Do you remember the story of Passover?
Of course. It's so exciting. Everyone escapes by crossing the Red Sea.
Well, how about what happens after?
Everyone gets lost for a little while?
Yes, the Jewish people wandered the desert for many years. Now, think about how you felt on that long ride yesterday. It was a little tough, wasn't it?
Yeah. I just kept doing rainbow breaths and thinking about how at the end we could play in the museum.
Right. So imagine now that you're with everyone you know, not just a few friends, and you're camping in the desert. And it's hot and sticky, and you're all crowded and not sure where you're going next. You know you're going to eventually be somewhere amazing, but right now, you're tired.
That doesn't sound very fun.
Naturally, people might start to get a little snippy with each other.
Are you going to tell me a story?
Yes, I'm setting it up. Do you remember that Moses had a brother?
Aaron?
Right. This story is about him, and about some friends and neighbors who weren't being so kind with their words.
Like what happened with my friends?
Yes, so scoot in just a little closer and snuggle up while I...
Tell you a little something?
You know it. Once upon a time...
A long time ago.
Correct. A very, very long time ago. The Jewish people had escaped Pharaoh and his soldiers, and they were wandering through the desert. At one point, Moses had them set up camp. It was very hot and people needed to rest. After a lot of work and effort, a small area was set up with a little bit of shade so that families could rest.
And not get a sunburn.
And not get a sunburn, correct. Two men started arguing over a lovely shady spot where each wanted to rest and eat supper with their families. "I should have this spot. I'm older and need more rest," said the first man. "No, I should have this spot. I've been carrying many more supplies for the rest of the camp," said the second man. "Well, I've already put down my blanket," shouted the first man. "So what? I marked the spot as soon as we got here," said the second. You are so selfish, the first man exclaimed, exasperated. As are you, yelled the second.
Mimi?
Yes?
I think the people in the story need names.
Okay, what shall we call them?
Bob and Herbert.
That's not the direction I thought you were going. But sure, Bob and Herbert. So, Bob and Herbert kept shouting at each other, saying all sorts of angry things at each other.
Like calling each other frog faces?
Oh, definitely. They caused such a commotion that Moses and Aaron came running up to investigate. They didn't want the conflict to continue, so each escorted one of the men back to his tent and family.
Were Bob and Herbert usually friends?
Well, usually yes, but they ran out of patience with each other. Sound familiar?
Did they stay mad at each other?
I'll finish the story and you tell me. Aaron did not like to see people in his community fighting. He was friends with Bob and with Herbert, and he wanted them all to be able to spend time together, and especially to find a way that they could all enjoy that patch of shade together. Aaron stopped by Herbert's first. How's it going, Herb? Have you cooled off a little bit? That Bob is such a sneaky sneak, trying to take all that shade for himself. What's next? Stealing food? Taking extras? Oh, I'm getting so worked up, I want to give him a piece of my mind. You know, said Aaron, you and Bob have been friends for so long. You usually speak so highly of each other. Just this morning, Bob was talking about how much he admired your creativity and all of the good ideas you have. Really? He said that? Well, of course he did. And surely, Herbert, being so creative, you could come up with a way to enjoy that spot with Bob instead of fighting with him. I'll think about it, said Herbert. Next, Aaron visited Bob. Hi, Bob. Still mad? Oh, yes, said Bob. I'm fuming. Who does that Herbert think he is? King of the Shade? Aaron looked at his friend. Now, Bob, we know that Herbert is usually really good at sharing. Things just got out of hand earlier. I've had it with that Herb. I'll never speak to him again. Well, responded Aaron, that is a shame, because you two have had such a wonderful, long friendship since we were kids. And I happen to know that Herb has some things he'd like to say to you. I'm not listening unless he's apologizing. I believe that's the plan, but, you know, it would be good for you to apologize too. Wipe the slate clean, as the expression goes. And then, perhaps, you can work together to share that lovely shade patch. Now that would be something. I'll think about it, Bob said.
So what happened?
Well, it was very late, so Aaron turned in for the night. In the morning, he got up early, stepped outside of his tent, and was surprised to see...
Bob and Herbert?
Yes, talking and laughing and getting along.
Really?
Oh, yes. After Aaron left, each approached the other. They were much calmer, ready to apologize, and even started working on a way to share the shade together.
The end?
The end.
So, I wonder. Maybe I can talk to Joey and Morgan and help them remember what good friends they are, just like Aaron did in your story.
That's a fabulous idea, my heart.
Do you think it'll work?
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Okay, I'll talk to Joey at karate later on. And then when we wait for the bus tomorrow, I'll talk to Morgan. And then after school, hopefully everyone will want to go bowling again.
Wonderful plan.
Thanks, Mimi. That story really helped.
Anytime.